Hey everyone, it's Joyel and welcome back to my channel. So for today I decided that I was going to do a story time about the time I actually went natural before I did my big chop. But of course, before we get started, please don't forget to click that subscribe button down below. Also, don't forget to check out my new merch. I just released my new Natural and Proud merch. You guys can click on all of that information and all the links down below. And if you're the owner of a business, especially a black-owned business, and would love to sponsor a video, please send an email at SharmaineJoyel@gmail.com. But let's get started. Your girl is fully vaccinated. I have yet to turn into a Resident Evil character, but that vaccine did completely wipe me out. I'm still like trying to get over some of the side effects. I was just really sick for like 2 or 3 days. It was ridiculous. So I decided that this week I would do a story time. So if you've been with my channel, I briefly mentioned this in one of my videos before I did my big chop that I filmed, that I had gone natural a couple years ago, but kind of unwillingly. I had decided one day that I wanted to dye my hair. My hair had been relaxed up to this point for a couple of years, and I think it was just about shoulder length, if not a tiny bit past that, and I decided, I'm 21, I've never really done anything color-wise to my hair. Maybe I'll try it. So I told my mom, hey, next time you go to Sally's or whenever you go get hair dye, can I come with you? I'd like to pick out a hair color. So she said, sure. I think that same weekend we ended up going. Sally's is kind of like the only beauty brand store that we kind of knew of in Mesa at the time. But when I tell you I was stoked, I was stoked. For the longest time, I never actually wanted to dye my hair. I generally like my hair color. I don't have any issues with my natural hair color. I really like it. Probably why I haven't really dyed it since, but I was still very excited to try something different. I naturally have red undertones, so I decided maybe doing a shade of red was going to be the best fit for my hair. I really didn't want to bleach my hair and do anything blonde, because again, my hair was already relaxed. It probably didn't need anything too extreme. I decided to go with like maybe a deeper red shade. I can't remember exactly the color I used, but we went in and we bought, I believe, what was the one and only Argan Oil Permanent Color Cream. I can't remember the level of the developer or whatever I used. I don't know what I was doing. Again, first time I ever dyed my hair and I had no idea what I was doing. I thought this was going to be easy. I figured if I could attempt to put a relaxer on my own head, you know, how hard could hair dye be? So I went home, got it all mixed together, and decided to apply this to my head. Obviously, I did a very bad job. It was so patchy, incredibly patchy, that by the time that I had rinsed the stuff out, dried my hair, and flat ironed it again, I had like patches of red, and then like my dark brown roots were either still showing, or I had patches in the back of my head that were still brown that apparently I did not get as well as I thought I had. Being the stubborn and uneducated fool that I am, I thought, well, if my hair can handle a relaxer, it can handle having hair dye put back on it back to back. And I'm sure this is where most of you are probably like, yep, this is exactly where you messed up. I know this is exactly where I messed up. Instead of waiting, 3 weeks to reapply the color, I decided that the next day, I would just reapply it. It couldn't hurt anybody, right? So I did the whole process over again, like the next day. Everything seemed fine. My hair was noticeably redder. It was, even all over. Oh, God, this is the calm before the storm is usually how this goes, right? I probably lost about half my hair length over the course of, I don't know, just a few months. It took a few weeks for it to start kicking in, and I just started noticing I had tons of shedding, tons of breakage, just seeing little red hairs everywhere, right? And I eventually ended up going from shoulder length to about chin length with my hair. So I lost a good chunk, I don't know, almost like 3-4 inches of hair. Yeah, I tried to cut my hair into some different styles. I didn't really have a choice but to try and cut it into some sort of A-line layered bob thing with some bangs on it, because my hair was just breaking off like crazy. So you just purposely try to give yourself like a layered haircut, right? So I figured, my hair is damaged, instead of continuously trying to put heat on it, relaxing it every 8-10 weeks is what I did. I decided I was just gonna go ahead and put it in a protective style, which was box braids. Not realizing, at the time I didn't realize that, a protective style The only part it's protecting you from is if you use heat every day. It's not protecting you against tension. It's not protecting against any form of manipulation except for, you know, when it's initially installed. And most people don't realize you actually have to take care of your hair underneath it. You can't just leave it. You gotta add some moisturizing aspect. Obviously, I didn't get that memo. I didn't know that yet. So I just wore these box braids. I probably only had them in for about 4 weeks, and I never got them very long. I only got them like, I don't know, bra strap length at that time. I guess that's still kind of long. Most women will do like hip length and things, but I didn't really do it farther past like armpit length. But basically, after having these box braids in for a couple of weeks, it was time to shower. Decided to, you know, rinse my hair, scrubbing with the shampoo and the conditioner. I specifically get to the right side of my head, right here on my temple, and I'm scrubbing when all of a sudden one of the braids falls out. And at first I was like, you know, I probably just got some conditioner and it probably just slipped out, and I wasn't concerned at first. And I bent over to pick up the braid that fell. And I'm realizing that I see some of my actual hair in this braid, right? I'm just like, okay, maybe it was a little bit that fell off. And then I realized, you know, no, this is the entire braid that fell out of your hair. But as I look at the top of the braid, I realize about 4 inches of it, the very top of it, is 1000% my hair. Immediately start panicking. Toss that braid out of the shower so I can look at it later, and I'm just trying to rinse off as much conditioner at this point because I'm like, I just gotta rinse my hair out and get out of the shower so I can assess this. And boom, another braid falls out. Ensue even more panicking upon this moment, and I'm just freaking out because I'm like, these braids, another one fell out, are you kidding me? And again, had about 4 inches of my hair braided into it. So finish rinsing, jump out of the shower, and I realized I need to just start taking these out. So I'm unbraiding and I'm braiding, and as I am unbraiding these extensions, I just see chunks of my hair falling out. I am in complete and utter panic mode right now. I am, the whole pit in your stomach, feeling sick is like barely enough to explain the amount of emotional pain I'm experiencing. You know, chunks are falling off the top, chunks are falling off the back, they're falling off the sides. And after finally getting all the extensions out, I realized I straight up look like the redhead version of the Cynthia doll from Rugrats. It's not looking good. I look like Chucky got ran over by a lawnmower. I still had hair, but it was so many varying lengths of hair. And in chunks, it was very clear that there was no longer relaxed hair there. It was now whatever new growth had grown in, and then you had chunks of the, it was just bad, you guys. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, I had a chunk here that was like this long, chunks here that were this long, and I knew that there was gonna be no choice but to cut this off. Like, how was I gonna try and save this? I tried drying whatever was left of my hair and was like, maybe I can straighten it and figure out how I can do a pixie cut. As soon as the flat iron was touching this hair, it was just breaking off still. So I gave up, found a pair of scissors, and I just started cutting off any and all what was left of my relaxed hair, bawling the entire time. So bad. This is so bad. And clearly my hair is still this red color because I dyed it again, so any new growth that I had, so after cutting it off, I was just left with this kind of really short, dark red TWA, and I just kind of had to rock it from there. I just remember sitting on the floor of my bathroom for like 2 hours, being angry with myself, saying, you know, was it worth putting all that, like, was it worth dyeing your hair? You literally wanted to do this and you lost all of your hair. Now remember, I was in a frame of mind where I was not ready to go natural. I was 1000% fine with my relaxers, and at this point had no intentions of going natural yet. So for me, this was like, no, years of trying to maintain my relaxed hair at shoulder length just gone in an instant. I was such a wimp. I remember that night I actually wrote on a piece of paper and stuck it out in the kitchen to let my family members know that, like, my hair had fallen out the night before and I didn't have a choice but to cut it off, so when they saw me I was gonna have very little hair, and to please not make a big deal out of it because I was already in Shameville at that point. And they were so nice about it. My mom took me to Fantastic Sam's the next day. We were just like, she just was like, let's just go to Fantastic Sam's and they can just shape it up for you. And I was like, Mom, these women don't even, okay, whatever. So we went and they did their best to try to, like, you know, get any straight pieces that were left, and they did actually a fairly good job. It wasn't that difficult. They couldn't do that. Anyway, but basically I just sported a TWA for a while before I went into relaxers about 11 months later, you know, I rocked it. That was one of the first times I really had to get to know my natural hair, because in order to even relax it, you know, I needed to grow it out a little longer if I wanted to have, you know, at least a pixie cut with some length to it. So during those 11 months, I didn't really have much of a choice but to kind of get to know my hair, and kind of took that opportunity to be like, you know, how can I get my hair to grow as fast as humanly possible so I can get another relaxer on it, right? But that experience of working with my natural hair, really getting to see what I looked like with natural hair, and having kind of a sneak peek into what that was like, another motivating factor for me to do my big chop about 3 years ago, and what led to this channel. So it wasn't all too bad. Everything has a pro and a con, but I thought that'd be a funny story for you guys, because, you know, I wasn't always super confident with my natural hair, especially when something like that happens and you're just kind of like, I was not ready to go that extreme. I literally went from shoulder length hair to having like maybe half an inch of hair. It was very, not even half an inch maybe. But I hope you guys enjoyed this little story time and a quick blip of my hair history. I'll be back more regularly with videos soon. Just gotta get over these COVID side effects and just feeling exhausted and just having migraines all the time. But I hope you guys enjoyed this week's story time and video. Please don't forget to check out my merch down below. You can find all the links in the description box. Don't forget to click that subscribe button. Keep blooming, and I'll see you guys in my next video.